Hi, my name is Ava Griffin, and today I'm going to be reviewing Dead Space 3 by Visceral Games and published by Electronic Arts. For this review, I will be mainly focusing on the single-player aspect of the game, but Dead Space 3 also features a remarkably fun co-op mode. The evaluative criteria I've used for this review are gameplay, interface design, audio, graphics, and story. Dead Space 3 is the third in a series, but new players don't need to worry about jumping straight into this chapter. Once again, players will take on the role of Isaac Clarke in his ongoing battle with the Necromorphs. Dead Space 3 provides a gory, tense experience through a variety of settings. You'll be floating through space, hanging on for dear life on a moving platform, traverse through snowstorms, and explore an abandoned settlement on an alien planet, and much more. The gameplay is equally varied, mixing moments of intense and close-quarter action with moments of eerie silence and darkness. You'll explore space while maintaining your oxygen levels, customize and build your own weapons. A new feature in this game is the undertaking of various side missions. From the isolation of outer space to abandoned space freighters and to an ice-covered planet, Dead Space 3 offers some of the most harrowing and terrifying experiences any gamer will play this year through its combination of gameplay, interface design, audio graphics, and story. At its surface, Dead Space 3 may resemble your typical survivor horror games. You are a lone protagonist, exploring scarcely lit and isolated locations with creepy enemies lurking in the shadows. But what separates Dead Space 3 from other games, like the earlier horror-focused Resident Evil games, is its gameplay. Whereas Resident Evil relied on the RC-style controls that were more frustrating than intuitive to create tension, Dead Space 3 has a more natural control scheme. Up is up, down is down. You feel as if you are in control of the character. The simple controls immerse you in the experience of the game. You don't have to worry about if pressing up on the joystick is going to take you off in the completely opposite direction. There are no fixed camera angles that further confuse the gamer with an awkward control scheme. The camera is a standard over-the-shoulder viewpoint as in most third-person games, but it's pulled in tight and close to almost feel that claustrophobic sense one might imagine in a cramped space corridor or a blinding snowstorm. It also helps to limit what you can see within the frame, further heightening suspense. You're never going to know when a necromorph is going to jump out at you. Another important element to Dead Space 3 is in its interface design. If we compare it to the original Resident Evil, it's similar in that neither has any visible health bars. Dead Space 3, however, takes it further. The inventory menu in the game is seen as a visual representation within the game environment itself. The player will see a menu appear in front of the character, never breaking the fourth wall and taking you out of the game. In a game that's going to rely on horror and tension, pausing the game into the menu screen is going to quickly break this immersion. Dead Space 3 solves this problem with the clever interface design. You never have to enter a separate menu to see how much health you have. All information is displayed on the character, and what is perhaps one of the cleverest designs of health representation in a game. Your health is represented by a vertical light on your character's suit. Blue for full health, yellow for medium, and red for that, oh no, you're about to die now. If the red light on your character's back doesn't produce that, I'm about to die feeling of dread, then the audio most definitely will. There are moments in the game where you might hear a sound coming from an unknown location or thing. It could be just a pipe hissing, or it could be a necromorph waiting in the shadows, about to jump on you or attack with its hideous claws. There is a moment in the game where you're on the ice planet Tai Volantis, making your way through a snowstorm in an abandoned settlement. You hear this familiar clanking sounds of metal upon metal, and it turns out that it's just a loose pipe being blown in the winds towards the side of a building. The player might again hear this sound and think it's another loose pipe, but then suddenly its zombie-like necromorph is hitting the wall with a giant hammer. It's surprising moments like this where the audio really helps create further surprise. I've literally gone and jumped and even screamed at moments like this, which is amazing and awesome that it can go and pull you in so much. None of the above would of course matter if the game did not hold up visually, but Dead Space 3 most definitely holds up in the visual department. Dead Space 3 has some gorgeous visuals, but in a survival horror game, the beauty is the most dangerous thing. As I mentioned before, Dead Space 3 has an almost claustrophobic feel to it due to its close-up camera view. The visuals greatly complement this. From the flickering lights in urban-like environments to the blinding white of the snowstorms, your vision is very limited. Sirens may go off, bathing a room in a strobing red or orange light. Lights might flicker off to suddenly turn back on, and a necromancer may be waiting there for you. The use of lighting is so effective that you almost don't want to walk into the next room because it looks like it'll be darker than the next. Yet as gamers, we always persevere. And why do we persevere? The story. Along with a great gameplay experience, a good story is right up there with why you would want to play and keep playing through a video game. While this is the third of a series, new players won't be lost in the story. Characters and events from previous games are explained clearly, and the story in this one is compelling, interesting, and feels imperative. There is a sense of urgency and a sense of grand scale in Isaac Clarke's attempts to finally end the necromorph scourge. Yet it's also very personal. The relationship between Isaac Clarke and his love interest Ellie is almost touching. The story provides a purpose for the player, a reason to play besides just a chance to kill ugly monsters. I haven't revealed much of the story, but that's because you never want to spoil a good story. If you like sci-fi, if you like horror, you're going to love this story. Overall, this is a great AA title. I would give this game a 10 out of 10. The gameplay is responsive and the experience is frightening. This is one of the best survival horror games I've played. It's genuinely scary, and one of the best things you can say about games like these is that they make you not want to play them, but you should. All of the elements I've described, from the smooth controls, the great visual, interface, and audio design, and the intriguing story combined together to create a pretty scary experience. Its average user rating is a 9.5. It's been a top seller, and if that wasn't enough, currently it's only $40 for a new copy. So if you think that you're tough enough to explore the unknown of space, you should go out and buy Dead Space 3.